As a kid, I enjoyed picking out games to borrow from my local library. I could borrow them for a week and potentially renew them for a second week even. Due to this, I got to try some games that I never would have heard of otherwise. My family only ever had a Nintendo Wii console, and the library had a decent collection of Wii games, most shovelware, however. There was one game though that stood out to me, however, for some odd reason, and that game was Emergency Heroes from Ubisoft. Well, here I go, talking about another game from my childhood that involves cars. Last year in November, I talked about LEGO Racers 2 and how, despite some small problems I had with it, I really loved it. Emergency Heroes isn't quite the same story. I have fond memories of it in some way, but the game is... Let's say I don't love this like I did LEGO Racers 2. So I don't really have much to say about this game's history. It just kind of came out like a lot of the shovelware found on the Wii. To be fair, I actually would put this higher than most of the other shovelware titles that you can find on the Wii, but not by much. I just personally didn't have an interest in really diving into this game's development history. Emergency Heroes is a driving game, of course, being on the Nintendo Wii motion control machine. The driving is done by steering with the Wii remote, and there are no other control methods. This is fine. I mean, the controls work well enough. I've played worse driving games on the Wii. So, the synopsis of Emergency Heroes is performing emergency tasks, police chases, rescue missions, and firefighting specifically. Oh, but this is also futuristic emergency missions. Essentially, this is San Alto, a futuristic city in an unmentioned year. There's a big organization of automated rapid response services. Cool. I will dig into the actual plot later in the video, but this is a basic synopsis, and the tone of the game is, well, sometimes it's serious, and others it's just a lot more comic and chaotic. But I would say overall, this is not a serious game by any means. So imagine being a cop, but like really cool, and also a menace to society. That's Emergency Heroes. So as mentioned prior, this game separates its gameplay into three categories: policing, rescue, and firefighting. The game follows a mission-based structure, which each mission, called perils, are basically a timed challenge. Now there isn't a time limit, but instead your run is timed and you get a rank based upon your completion time. You have bronze, silver, and gold ranks. Each ranks gives you a different amount of points to rank up. Ranking up will unlock more vehicles, but I will get into that more later. Now let's go over each individual peril type. There are two different subtypes of policing perils: pursuits and clearances. In pursuits, your goal is to stop a villain rampaging through the streets. This is done by ramming into the villain's vehicle a certain number of times. This actually stays pretty fresh over time in that you may need to hit specific sides of a vehicle due to heavy armor plating in later instances. I actually kind of like this. It keeps you on your toes. Instead of just continually ramming them from wherever, you have to try and aim for a certain part of their vehicle. It makes you think more about where you need to position yourself to hit them. So yeah, I actually find pursuits quite enjoyable. They get the adrenaline pumping a little bit. Clearances, on the other hand, are boring and normally take less than a minute to complete. Essentially, your task here is to clear out wreckage on a road. Usually there's about 10 or so blockages to ram through, and that's it. These are really quick and feel completely pointless. They never have any kind of spin added to them later on, and nearly every one can be finished in less than a minute. Boo. I don't like these. Rescue perils involve, well, rescuing. Normally from a burning or collapsing building, people are in trouble and you need to rush in to bring them out of harm's way. As you're risking your life to save these people, they will say a lot of things. Sometimes they may even criticize you, as if they aren't gonna die without your help. It's astonishing. Rush to the person in trouble, rush back to the beginning, and that's essentially every rescue peril. A lot of these have plenty of ramp jumps and tight corners to navigate, which can sometimes make a few of them a little tricky, but nothing legitimately difficult. These are fine, but nothing special really. A big point to these perils is the types of people you will save, which, like I said, can range from the genuinely scared for their lives people to the people who have nothing better to do in an emergency than scold you for not getting there fast enough. These are just plain boring, just like the clearances. Most of these are actually in the same locations of the rescue perils, so here's how it typically goes, right? You do a rescue peril, and immediately after, a corresponding fire peril will become available at the same location. There's now a second person in trouble due to the fires. What? So, like, where were they when I had to save the other person? Like, my goodness. Anyways, you basically just drive around in a big circle and put out fires as they break out. What sucks about these is you are always going to need to drive around that big circle at least twice, put out the amount of fires that they require for you to complete completed. I think I could easily make these fire perils more interesting. So get this, instead of a big circle, have an open area that I can freely drive around and seek out the fires that need put out. This would put a larger emphasis on the fact that I am trying to contain this fire from spreading, instead of just putting out these fires that just pop up while I drive in a circle, and then once I put out a certain number, the fire just magically goes out entirely. It just doesn't make sense. Like, at least with the policing and rescue perils, they do kind of make sense, but the fire ones just flat out don't. Anyways, when you're driving around in the free roam environment throughout the city after completing your regular perils, you can find small time perils to take care of. I like to call these bonus perils. These get you some unlockable bonus materials like paint jobs for your vehicles, character art, and concept artwork. Each peril type has their own bonus peril. For police, it's civilian speeding or small road blockages. For rescue, it's these supply drops you need to jump to. For fire, it's small fires on the side of the roads. These are neat, but I will say, like, they're not anything crazy. They're just kind of little extras to pick up along the way. I will say though, for speeding civilians, these are actually cool because they tend to just come out of nowhere seemingly, so they keep you on your toes when you're driving in the free roam. And funnily enough, these civilians can actually escape if you let them get too far from you, and that's actually really neat. I like that. Let me take a short second to talk about the vehicles. I love these vehicles design-wise. I really like especially how futuristic they made these while still feeling like these could be vehicles designed today. My favorite vehicles design-wise are the police cruisers. Not so much this one though, the others are fine though. I especially like the police bike that you get at the end. It's super cool looking. My only gripe with that police bike, however, is that it has the ability to put out fires, but you can't take it into any of the fire perils. It's kind of odd. And that's another thing I want to mention about perils, once again, that corresponds with the vehicles, is that the perils will usually set you into a specific vehicle. So when you get new vehicles, you can't take them into previous perils, which is kind of just, I don't know, man. I feel like any vehicle I should just be able to use in any of the corresponding perils that it goes with, but Emergency Heroes follows an ex-cadet, Zach, who was pulled back into the EHO service in a dire situation. The EHO headquarters has been overrun? Demolished? No, neither of those really work, but basically the service's supercomputer is down and can't dispatch autonomous emergency response or something like that. So it's up to Zach, Commander Walters, Tech Specialist Kelly to take care of the outbreaking disasters, like people that like to speed and crash into people, people in peril due to fires, and fires themselves. Oh, and of course, clearing out traffic blockages. I gotta be honest, with this premise, it just doesn't make any sense. Okay, so you're telling me a washed out cadet is who they go to first at a time like this? Walters even goes as far to say,
all that stuff's in the past, and I wouldn't ask if I didn't think you could handle it.
Which is just odd. Like, dude, this guy is a total washout. Like, there isn't much of a story to follow, really. It's just basic emergency response stuff. However, we do have an overarching plot, if you'd like to call it that ties everything together. After some time taking care of business, a big bad makes himself known, an unnamed villain seeking to destroy San Eltal and the EHO. Later, we find out this is none other than Sammy, a fellow ex-cadet of Zach. In training, Sammy was severely scarred due to Zach's incapability to put out a fire fast enough. Sammy, now out for revenge, wants to tear down the organization that left him behind. It's a simple enough plot, and in the end, Sammy leads you into a false rescue mission, which he then flees out of the collapsing building in the hopes that Zach won't make it out. Of course, Zach, or you the player, does make it out and goes on the last pursuit to take down Sammy, and in turn, end this chain of terrible events. After the smoke clears and Sammy is taken down, Zach is absolved of any blame in the trading incident. As it turned out, it seems Sam went into a dangerous situation all on his own and caused his own accident. Why this wasn't investigated long before, who knows really, but the EHO was also investigated on whether full automated vehicles were really safe, and this results in reopening their cadet training program, led by Zach himself. So all's well that ends well, I guess. Is locked up now, and San Alto has a safer, braver EHO to protect it. Yeah, I mean, it's a fine enough plot for Wii shovelware, but nothing too special. Like, it's an overarching plot to give meaning to why you're doing all of this, I guess, and it's fine. So, as short as it was, that's Emergency Heroes. A few side notes I did not mention earlier. The game does have different environments, different districts in the city, basically, and honestly, these change nothing Like, the lighting and buildings are kind of different, not really anything exciting. I gotta say, this game is just kind of meh. Like, for shovelware, it's actually quite okay, dare I say good, but this is totally just a one and done type of game. You're never going to want to replay this, unless of course you or me, making a video about it, in which case you will replay it, even if you don't entirely want to. I kid, of course. I did actually want to replay it because I got this sudden spike of nostalgia for it, oddly enough. Like, again, it's not a great game, but it's not a bad game either. As far as its entire quality goes, I give it a meh out of 10. That's all I really have for you on this one. So before I close this one out, I just want to say thank you for watching. I had really fallen off of my momentum that I wanted to keep after the LEGO Racers 2 video, and I mean that mainly has to do with the fact of a couple things. One, I started a new work schedule and I just really needed to adjust to that and figure out kind of what my video making schedule was going to be like, you know, surrounding the new work schedule. But I have that mostly figured out, not entirely. I still kind of still slack off on some of the video making stuff, other things that come up and such, but I'm getting there. Also, I made a full switch over to Linux, with Windows 10 support ending and me just not wanting to go over to Windows 11 with all of its bloated AI features and other bloat that comes with Windows in general. You know, I just wanted something simpler. I wanted something that I know wasn't just going to be loaded up with a bunch of garbage, to be honest. And like, I just said, okay, I'm going to go with a Linux distro. Started looking up some stuff, found stuff, and I went with one called Zorn OS, which is Ubuntu based. And I do quite like it. It's very nice. It's very lightweight. Everything that I need to make the videos works on it. Everything I need for my everyday stuff works on it. Gaming, I haven't had a problem with any games that I've played on it, thanks to Steam and their great compatibility with Proton and everything. So yeah, I finally got all that done. I'm fully over on Linux. It's great. And Windows 10 support is ending next month, so anybody that is still not sure what they're going to do, if they're going to go up to Windows 11 or if they're going to try to switch to Linux, I hope that all goes well for you. I do also want to make a little bit of an announcement regarding this video that you're watching, though this is not a promise by any means. I'm going to turn this little Emergency Heroes video into a series. So, the borrowing games from my local library, I was thinking one time about some other games I borrowed, and I want to talk about a few more of them. I am hoping to get a couple more videos out by the end of the year in this little series, so stay tuned for that. Again, that's not a promise, but I want to, you know, try to put my best effort in for making those. Well, it is good to be back and to make a video again, finally. Truly it is, but I must put a close on this one and move on to the next project. I hope everyone is having a good day or night, whatever it is for you. I'll see you in the next one. Josh out.